Hi everybody, welcome back to Bible Journaling with Leanne. Today we've got a little video for our Free to Fly group, but anybody is welcome to join in as we create in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 13 and 14. We'd love to have you create, and if you do, just hashtag Bible Journaling with Leanne. So today we need some water, watercolour paints or colouring pencils, pens, paintbrushes, heat tool, pencil and a rubber. So quite simple, nice resources, and I just start out here by just sketching out my design. Now today I'm creating a dandelion flower that you might see in the middle of your lawn, or you might not if you've got someone who's really good at keeping an immaculate lawn, but there's plenty out there on our daily walks at the moment. And the reason that I wanted to create a dandelion clock today was because it just, to me, captures something of the transformation that we see in our lives. And so I just am putting down a layer of water on this page so that I can create a background wash of a really pale green just to set off the design really. Now you'll notice that my children have been at my paintbrushes. Thankfully, by the end of this video I was able to save this one, but I wasn't impressed when I picked it up. So that's just my background wash, and then I'm going to start out picking out a couple of greens, a lighter and a darker, just to give the image a bit of depth. So when you look at a dandelion clock, you kind of see it go through different phases and different times really. It starts off as a bud and goes into a flower, and that's where a lot of flowers kind of stop. But a dandelion keeps going, doesn't it? It goes almost into a bud shape again and looks like it's going to die, and the ends of the flower look like they're turning grey and brown, and it all closes in on itself. And then a few days later it opens up, doesn't it, into that beautiful dandelion clock that we tell the time with when we blow away all the bits of fluff on the outside. And then you're left with just this crown, this tiny piece left behind when everything else has blown away. I'm just going to read to you the passage for today and then share a bit more about why I feel these two things kind of go together. So it says, "But we do not want you to be uninformed, brothers, about those who are asleep, that you may not grieve as others do who have no hope. For since we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so, through Jesus, God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep." So my focus in this passage is just that line really, that you may not grieve as others do who have no hope. Now we're in a time, aren't we, where there's lots of things, sorry that's my creaky chair, lots of things that we might be grieving. There's people who have died who we're missing, who we haven't necessarily got a chance to say goodbye to. But there's also other things that we're grieving, the chance to see friends and family, our normal routines and things that we love to do. You might be grieving your own space, time on your own. You might be grieving that opportunity just to choose what you're going to do for a day instead of doing what's dictated to you by homeschool. There's so many things, aren't there, that cause us to think and feel differently about our situation, and those feelings of grief that come with it. Feelings of grief kind of catch you unaware. It's that time where we don't really feel in control of our emotions and we behave differently than we might otherwise do. It's those times where we suddenly cry and we didn't realise we were feeling sad, or those moments where we lose our temper with someone for no reason and it catches us unaware. Our emotions are all over the place. You might feel really, really tired, close to exhaustion all the time, and you're not really sure why. There's just so much to process, and that's what grief is. It is a time of processing that a change has happened, something significant is different, and so we grieve. That's the name we give to those times when significant change has happened and we don't quite know how to think or feel in response to it. And so I wanted to capture this image of this dandelion clock, because I think the process of grieving is just like that process where the flower closes back in on itself. Now, for some people, that moment where everything changes means that you just want to talk to people over and over and over again about the same things, because you're just trying to process and understand what is going on. And for other people, you just want that time on your own to try and think through what's going on, or you find that you can't really focus your thoughts when that flower just closes back in and you're struggling with those thoughts and emotions, not quite sure how to deal with those thoughts and feelings. And so you go back in on yourself, like this bud that I'm painting at the moment, and you're encased and enclosed. And I would say for those of us who are Christians, that's a time, a special time with God, a time where we have an opportunity to grieve, not hopelessly that we're in a situation that will never change, that we're in a situation where there isn't some good that could come out of it, but we can grieve with hope. We can grieve and be sad for what's lost, because we must grieve. It's not ever a process that we can skip. It's so important for our minds and our hearts to be able to process and understand what we're going through. But it's not a time to despair. You see, when we grieve with hope, we allow Jesus to play a part in our situation, and we allow him to speak into what we're experiencing. And so we're not hopelessly grieving, afraid that we'll never again see that beauty of a yellow flower, afraid that everything is going to be dark and will always stay dark, afraid that there's no purpose in what's going on. But we have hope, we have Jesus, and we know that we can trust in him through this situation and through any situation where we're grieving someone that we've lost. You see, because of Jesus, we have hope. And in this passage, it talks about our hope for eternity, a hope for a time spent with him, where there's no more tears and no more mourning, where these things don't happen anymore. But at the moment, while we're in this time, while we're in this season, where everything is changed, and we need to grieve and process everything that's going on, we do it with hope, because Jesus is there with us, because he's got a plan that's bigger than what we can understand or comprehend, and because we can trust him in every situation that we face. So if you just have a look at this image that I've been painting, if you're creating in that margin of your Bible today, I'd just invite you to just choose maybe one or two parts of the dandelion instead of all the stages, or maybe you could just do a smaller illustration and do more wording. But it's just a really simple shape. You get those bendy leaves, you think about the dynamics within those leaves. And then you just start off with a bud with a tiny bit of yellow at the end. And then you come to that spiky flower. And if you build up those layers of yellow, you'll start to get some more dimension into it. And then that flower turns in on itself and becomes a bud again. But this time, not with yellow, but with that cream. It almost looks like it's dead. But it's not, is it? Because it's about to open out again. And you see that process when we've grieved. Is that a word? Grieved? I don't know. We'll go with that. We'll go with that process when you've grieved for something. Gives you a real depth and insight. It will help you understand so much more of the world around you and everything that goes, and how God's created the world to work. And so when that dandelion clock pops open, it's got all those seeds, hasn't it, to spread. And you will have all of these seeds and thoughts and wisdom and insights from God through this time, ready to spread them and share them with those that you love and care for. So I encourage you, as you spend time chatting with each other, as you spend time thinking and praying over this time when we're in lockdown, that when you feel like you've had a moment where God's given you some insight, it's time to share those things, like those dandelion clocks get blown away on the wind. Share those insights that you see through this time, the ways God's speaking to you and shaping you. To create that image of the dandelion clock is just so simple, just layers of cream, pale blues, greys and whites, just built up on each other, tiny little dots overlapping each other. And then finally that tiny little almost egg shape on a stalk. The seeds are blown away, the hope is in the next flower to come. And that's like us, isn't it? We keep throwing away the things that God gives us because we know that He has more blessings for us. We don't need to worry about a single thing we have, or what we're going to eat, what we're going to drink, what we're going to need, because God's got all those things ready for us. So we can give away anything. We can give away our feelings and our emotions to each other as we encourage each other and bless each other, because God's got us. He's got everything we need. And so I just went round with a black pen and outlined some of the details to try and get the image to stand off the page, and then just added this simple phrase: there is hope. Because yes, we're grieving. Yes, everything's changed. Yes, this is really, really tough. And it's important that we acknowledge that, but we hold on to the hope we have in Christ Jesus. Because He has this plan for us. And He has a plan for you. And you have so much that you can go forward and bless other people with. So go and create, have a great time, and I'll look forward to seeing what you create soon. Bye for now.